Hey everyone, I have Jayson here. He's from the implementation group, and he's willing to share his story and experience with us today. Jayson, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came across the reboot system?
Yeah, hi everyone. Thanks for the opportunity, Ernest. A little bit about myself. I'll be turning 30 here in January. I live in Kansas. I've been in the program. I was in the program for 2 years, the implementation program. And I came across the program through a lot of the YouTube free material. I was just wanting to end my out of control behavior. And also, feel free to edit this part out if you want. I actually knew JK as well before. That's how I ended up coming across, because I was like, because JK popped up on my Facebook once, and then I was like, oh, look at that, and then went on to his YouTube stuff.
Nice. And if you don't mind sharing, what specifically were you struggling before you joined the program? What was that one thing that you constantly were struggling with?
Oh, just what would you say? Just porn, really, and just out
Yeah.
of control. Just sometimes there'd be times where you feel like you're in control, but you constantly keep going back to the same behavior of masturbation and pornography.
Nice. No,
That would
thank
be
you for sharing
the
that.
program.
And how was your life then? Was that affecting like your career, your social circle, relationships? How was that affected?
I guess all of the above, right? So it's pretty. Yeah, I was in a pretty dark place. I'll be honest with you. Everything looked a lot of time wasted because I felt like I wasn't taking advantage of a lot of the opportunities that were presented to me, and yeah, it took me like forever to graduate college. Normally people take what 4 to 5 years. It took me like 10, you know.
Oh,
And yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And also like career wise, always didn't take a lot of the opportunities that were provided because I just was content and just satisfied with
yeah.
whatever was presented to me. I wasn't really achieving for anything higher. I was just like going with the flow, or just taking the path of least resistance, as we say, right, in homeostasis,
Yeah.
and wasn't really shooting for much.
No, thank
And
you
yeah,
for sharing that.
relationships, yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same thing too. I was also like very emotion wise as well. I would say, not that I'm perfect or a saint or anything, but I was a lot more like, looking back, a lot more like selfish and just always blaming others before
Hmm.
taking responsibility. And those kinds of things were really preventing me from really reaching my goals,
No, brother, thank you. That was
whatever I had any.
yeah, that's super detailed, man. That's good. I feel like a lot of us were in that place. And you mentioned like 10 years to graduate college. And then I laugh because I was laughing at myself, like, dang, I couldn't even go through college. I went for 2 years and then I was like, my mind wasn't there. So I couldn't even
Mhm.
focus. So the fact that you were able to graduate, you still persevered, which is good. And yeah, you had the common symptoms of someone that's been struggling, not being able to connect, right? Walling off. That's completely like my case as well when I was going through this process. So thank you for sharing that, Jayson. So when you were doing the system, right? What improved? What was one of your big or major wins that you experienced while doing the system?
Big thing was being honest. I think that was one thing that I lacked, was just being vulnerable and open. To be even frankly more honest, since we're on that topic, for the it's the first. I know I said I was in the program for 2 years because I like dicked around for the first 7 months. I'll be honest. I was just thinking just being in the program was going to solve everything. Obviously, there were some I installed covenant eyes and just some medium boundaries, and that was okay. That was better than. So I was like, decreased my quote count days. Oh, I'm only relapsing like once every 2 weeks, or once a week instead of an everyday thing. And but then I wasn't really using everything available to me. But yeah, I really took that next step by actually being honest. There were some, when I first started, I had like accountability partners that I wasn't honest with, and vice versa. And you go through this weird cycle of APs in the beginning because you're not taking it seriously. But then I finally got like a stable accountability partner once I started seeing I'm really wasting time and money here. So I got to really take it on to the next level. And that was first by just being honest and just reporting to my accountability partner, like everything, because just it's not just about being in like acting out or anything like that, but just being like, hey, how's your day? Instead of just saying things good, being more detailed. You know what? Actually, there was a time during the day that I was a little bit more emotional. I was like reminiscing on old things just to get mad for whatever reason. and
Yeah.
and like just being, because even my AP would call me out. They'd be like, you keep saying things are good. Can you be more specific? And I was like, okay, you know what? And also by learning from him as well, because he was like very vulnerable. And at first I was
Yeah.
like, and also like, in the group, people are like very open And that's not something that I was used to, just being vulnerable and open. And so just being like open with my accountability partner, I think that was a big first step to just actually rebooting instead of just fucking around, really.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome, dude. I feel like honesty, we could consciously say it. Yeah, I'm honest, but then you start to notice like how I'm dishonest by not saying, by withholding information. You're still lying to yourself,
Yeah.
mainly to yourself. Like you could fool others, but when you're dishonest to yourself, that affects like your integrity. And when your integrity is affected, you feel bad, right? It's like a consequence. And then what do you use for a coping skill? Porn. So
Yep.
it's the cycle, right? When you don't catch that, yeah, someone could tell you that, but then when you put in the work, and I guess when you develop wisdom, that's when you're like, oh damn, I saying that I am good is just really, that's such a shitty answer for someone that's
Right.
so there's someone
Yeah.
that's vulnerable and sharing like, whoa damn, I'm saying good, that it makes you feel, oh damn. And it's good that you learn from your accountability, man. That's really, yeah, like you said, sometimes it's hard to find the right one in the beginning, but once you have that one guy in a solid relationship, bro, it takes it to another level, and it becomes more than just you guys become a relationship, right? Something that's more intimate, and it grows you. It become teaches you how to be vulnerable. And I like that you said you were in a group for 2 years, but even JK says himself, it takes about a year and a half to 2 years to reboot,
Yeah.
and because we need to develop these skills and foundation. But thank you for sharing that, Jason. And what was your favorite tool that you used? What was that one tool that you stuck with until this day?
Oh, dialoguing. That's
Uh,
my, it really grounds me in a way. It's at first, it doesn't feel like doing, but like after a while, like after repeated practice and stuff like that, like knowing what questions to ask yourself when dialoguing, right? I think that once you figure it out, and that's been my key um, thing, like every time I get a trigger and stuff like that, my like go-to dialogue is what do I want? Like that's been my like kind of mantra of dialoguing, and then just basically with my inner addict or just my own reasoning and just ground me, because sometimes we don't know. And that's one of the things that came in was like I was like this weird high frequency jittery guy, just like always impulsive, just like
uh,
acting on anything that comes up. And like just dialoguing really does, I call it meditation or whatever, but like it really just keeps you real and just like grounds you. Okay, what is it that I really want? And then I go from there. Is okay, maybe I just need some sort of friendship, and that's why
mm,
I'm. It's like, okay, then, and then like transition to like rational irrational belief, and that's one thing leads to another. That's what I found out. And then and immediately you get like an irrational, I don't have a lot of friends, and irrational belief, well, no, that's not true. You have all these people. Go call someone you haven't talked to them in 2 years, and just stuff like that. And dialoguing, what do I want? And sometimes it's I want intimacy, and so you don't have a girlfriend. How are you? An irrational belief, and then we can work on that. And it gives you hope, and just basically constant dialoguing, and just that would be my key number one. And also depends on, and I know JK's mentioned that there's some phases, if you want to call it a beginning. My favorite tool and stuff were like rational irrational, like what do you use first? And as you change and you learn from all the data you've collected, you like mutate along the way, because you're a human being and you change. But as long as
uh,
you're using the full everything on your tool belt, I think that's good. But right now I would say dialoguing, and it's been consistently that for the last couple of months.
man, dude, that's awesome, bro. And I agree with you. We're all are different. We all take things a little differently, and we use certain tools more than others. But the fact that you're able to say, it's hard to explain certain things because you have to experience them. But yeah, you said it well with the dialogue. Oh, it grounds you. It keeps me from going to unnecessary thoughts and putting them in my
Mm,
conscious. Because if I have those thoughts in my conscious, the next thing is to act on it. So how
yes.
do I prevent that? By stopping it and asking quality questions.
Yes.
And the level
Quality
of,
questions, that
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, that's how I would put
Because
it. Yeah.
if you just say, oh, how do I stop porn? Then it's damn, that's such a vague question.
Hmm.
You really want to ask, how do I stop making myself small, and how do I put myself out there? That's scary as shit, but that's the
Yeah,
questions you have to face. And porn is just like a band-aid they just ripped off, and it's not a big deal once
exactly.
yeah. But that's awesome, brother. Thank you for sharing that. And So you mentioned a little bit like how I improved your social. So how have you seen the difference? So from 2 years ago from Jayson and now, how is your social? How's your relationship with people and connection?
I think it's a lot better. And that's one of the reboot capitals, right? One of the things I said I would work on was my social, because I've like really isolated myself for the last so many years by just being selfish, and you're just a shitty person. You're really not attracting quality people, let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that was one of the things. So I like really put in effort, and it's very nice because by the where I live around the area, they actually have these like meetups, and especially um, through my like church and diocese, automatic like pretty like-minded people to begin with. So I was like, oh, and
Yeah.
I've been going to some of those, and there's this like nice little group we have. Like we meet every 2 weeks and stuff like that, and we
Oh.
do some fellowship, as what we call it, which I
Uh-huh.
never thought. And also on top of that is also the, and we talk about this in the modules and in the group, is just repairing old relationships as well. It's just actually realizing and taking accountability of some of the things I've done to fracture that relationship, and like trying to repair those. Takes some relationships take a long time than others,
Yeah.
and so trying to work on those to really bring some good people in, if they were of good people that I really want advice from. So I'd reach out to them, and some of them have been a lot better state to make more social, and some of them are older as well. Some people, sometimes people give you advice and then you shun them away and everything, and then they're like, I don't want to give you advice anymore. And so actually
Yeah.
going back, hey, listen, I know a couple of years ago you were very helpful, and I really didn't take advantage of all of that. And so just being
Wow.
like humble and just apologizing and just reaching out, and if they're a good enough person, they'll understand and reach out. So I know I felt like I went on a tangent there, but social way, just that those have been really good.
No, though you did not go on a tangent. That was beautiful. It's not that's so humbling to go to someone and say, hey bro, I know I acted like an asshole.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like, but you're like, hey man, you're right. These at the time I didn't have the awareness or understanding of what you were saying. Right now I appreciate you. Actually, you know what? Those are wise words you told me. And the fact that you do those things, man, they may seem like you could easily dismiss those, but having that action that you take, it helps you too. Like that, those are for you forgive people, and the reason you did all that is to so you be forgiven as well. Oh, I want to experience that and help others. They probably need that closure. But and again, you're not doing that for your own selfish act. It's more for hey, I know it's the right thing to do, and hey, if they don't accept it, that's not up to me. I did my part,
yeah,
which is awesome, bro. That's maturity, man. That's some adult shit. But I love that.
yeah.
I
It's crazy,
yeah.
right? Yeah,
No, dude, thank you for sharing that. And man, I want to keep picking at you on that, but I won't. Let's
that's fine. Yeah, the other thing was also the thing that, as you were saying, that just reminded
yeah,
me, is also it's like being humble and stuff like that. I think it all comes down to like some of the things that we work on our program is also like our self-image, right? It's
yeah,
like, how do you let yourself get defined? What is it? And that was one of the things that work on, right? So I don't
yeah.
care. I know we might sound a little selfish, like I don't care what other people think, but you should in a little way. But at the same time, you can't give them all the power. So
I
just
agree.
and being humble just means, you know what? Even if the other person says "fuck you," you're shitty. That not letting that affect me, because you know what? That comment is not gonna change what
Yeah,
I think about myself. Because
that's
you know what? I
awesome.
tried, and that's what it is. And too bad when we move on. And
Yeah, and you learn it's not personal. It's all projection sometimes.
yeah.
And you're like, they're just projecting something. And that I love that's one of your core values, right? I guess that's what it is. One of your core values is to
Mhm.
be that way. And hey, man, I'm glad you have that. That's again, that's one of the qualities of someone that's rebooted, and I fucking love it. So thank you, Jason. That was you didn't have to share that, but we greatly appreciate this. This is so awesome. And next question, brother. Did you attend any of the reboot coaching calls?
I never asked a question,
Okay.
but the Milan JK's one. It's always it'll be right around this time. If it's in the morning, I'll be
Yeah.
listening in. And I don't think I made it to any of Dr. Rankin's, but I definitely made it to a whole bunch of Dr. Milan, and man, I'm blanking on her name.
Dr. Jessica
Jessica. Yeah, what's her last name?
Eastman.
Dr. Eastman. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I only call it.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Eastman. And those are like two very interesting calls sometimes,
Yeah.
because especially Dr. Eastman's too.
Yeah, that one
Because
gets a little interesting because of the questions they get and people's
yeah,
beliefs, and you learn a lot from that. Just by listening, you do learn a lot. Like, oh,
yep,
I have that kind of same belief. Oh shit.
yeah,
But
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're so
So
similar, even though you
y-
think you're so different than everyone else. And maybe that comes from the selfishness kind of thing in a way where
yeah.
you think you're so different and you're so special, but everyone asking that question, you're like, oh yeah, me too. And yeah, hey, yeah, that's a good question. And there was and Dr. Eastman and the coaching calls are so great because you think, because especially Dr. Eastman and we all have our traumas, and in a way there might be different types of traumas, but there's a weird arc that just pretty much like similarities in all of them. They share some sort of characteristics that you can use it to your own situation. And she's not there to coddle you. Sometimes she'll hold you accountable. Yeah, it's not a there session. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
that was the first time I was like, oh wow, okay, she's really challenging you
Yeah.
and to take
Exactly.
accountability.
I was about to say she challenges you. She don't take shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she does it. Yeah.
I love it. I was like, yeah, hey, you asked that question. You gotta be ready for that answer. I love
Exactly.
it. No,
Exactly.
thank you. So, nah, okay, awesome. I'm glad you joined those calls. And did you practice any of the tools or whichever call did you gravitate towards more? Did you use one of their tools or methods?
From the coach, the self-image stuff, and I remember like Dr. Milan talking about like when you have like negative thoughts. And I remember there was like that's one of the big things I struggled with is just like this barrage of just every time you go out of your comfort zone, um, there's always a little bit of pushback, right? That little, like, what
Resistance.
they call like that, your inner bitch or whatever
Yeah, yeah,
that comes out. And I remember Milan saying like, just frame it and that voice coming from somewhere down lower and
yeah,
to basically talk down to it, do your nothing kind of way. And also sometimes there was like a nice little like early beginning stages. I remember every time you get it, you're trying to like fantasize something. Sometimes you
yeah.
get into this weird train of thought of fantasizing and then to like how to stop yourself by turning into something like grotesque to get yourself out of it. Those kind of things. I don't know why those are the first two things that came to mind, but yeah, there's lots of tools and every
Yeah.
session is.
No, I like that one. That one's cool because you give it a funny voice too, right? Like
Yes, exactly.
that funny. Yeah, I done that one.
Yeah.
I do the Mickey Mouse one because it makes me laugh and I just give back to the moment. But thank you for sharing that, brother. And second last question for you, brother. For let's say someone's watching this or brothers, man, I relate to Jayson. My self-esteem was not there. I was an asshole to people. I was this kind of dishonest. I noticed these qualities that you had before in me right now. But I don't want to take the step to join this program. Something's stopping me. What would you tell that brother?
Go for it, man. Seriously, that's just being around people because it's sometimes you feel discouraging because you've probably tried it on your own for so long and failed. But just being in the group and being with such amazing people like yourself, Reboot Hero, and there's a few other Reboot Heroes now, of
Yeah.
course, like JK and a lot of other success stories in the group. First of all, like just hearing that it's possible, just being around people that have actually done it, just puts a reality in your head and gives you like a hope. So it's possible kind of thing, it's like that. Anyway, but yeah, it makes it possible. And I think that first itself is like a big mental leap to get you going.
Yeah.
Because in the early stages, I was like, man, is it really possible? Because it's something that you've struggled for so long. It's like for the rest of my life, or it depends on however you define your reboot. But
Yeah.
the other thing is also there's so much richness in the modules that it's not out there. Like what we're talking about is just we're only like scratching the surface, and
Oh,
everything about like some of the big things like how to prevent, especially those emotional and mental relapses stuff. Like when you watch those modules, you're like, oh my goodness, like that'll really help you. And there's just a library, just archive of questions from like thousands of people at this point. Every question has been answered and more than 10 times by JK and gracefully. So yeah, if anyone listening was like somewhat can relate to my journey and story, I'd highly recommend go ahead and yeah, reach out and it'll be the best thing you ever did. And you really, we talk about this in the programs. Like the goal is not to uh, quit porn. The goal is to become a person that doesn't need porn, right? That you
yes.
hear that at first, you're like, okay, that's cool, but you really don't know what it is until you've gone there and you're like, yeah, at this point, it's not even about that anymore. It's just how do you level up? Like, how do how do you learn tools to be a success in whatever you want to do? Like that's the kind of things like stacking up all these wins, even outside. Of course, we want to control that, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like these wins and all these other things that you learn in the program, because that's the goal, is to really become a quality person. Don't let your just being your sobriety or whatever you call it, you can't let that define you. Like these other things, like your relationships, your call it financial stability, all these other things, that those are the things that are actually you want to get that you couldn't get. That's why you've been relying on porn and masturbation to cope. But you have to really level up and become a quality person. And that's, again, sorry for the tangent, but that's what it,
No, dude, these are not tangents, bro. I could not have said it better myself. It really is a journey, and I like what you said, that it's bigger than just like what you think it is, and it's like a person that doesn't need it, and instead of saying I need to quit it, they're two different attitudes, and those two questions are very different, and you get different results. And you went for the guy that doesn't need it. I don't need it. Why? Let's find out the why I don't need it. And then you take the appropriate actions, and like you said, you have all the modules. And hey, man, you said it better than I can right now, and I appreciate those kind words and encouragement for anyone that's watching this. And brother, last question: how would you rate your experience here, or describe your experience in one word?
rated out of 10 with 11, right?
Okay,
And and word to
uh-huh.
describe it all, I'd say I'll go with the easy word. It's called implementation for a reason. It's implement, man. Got to put in the work. No more thinking. That just do it. That was my implement. Just sometimes you get too bogged up, like thinking about this and that. Just shut the fuck up and do it. Really, all that is. I remember that was one of my big breakthroughs. Was just sometimes you get too deep in your own thoughts and like this.
Yeah.
Dude, shut the fuck up. You can go do your morning routine.
I love it.
Go,
I love
yeah,
it.
just do it. Implement.
All right, you heard it from Jayson. Shut the fuck up and do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm joking, guys. But yeah, seriously though, yeah, just shut up and do it. It's not gonna be easy, and implement. Couldn't have said it better myself once again. So Jayson, thank you for taking the time to share your reboot journey. I love this. It's one of the best conversations I had so far with about your anyone's reboot journey so far, and I love it. And thank you for sharing this. And for those of you who are watching, thank you for taking the time to listen to Jayson's awesome story, and looking forward to seeing you, brother. Yes, you listening to this and relating to Jayson's experience. Yeah, man, get in the group and do the work. All right, brothers, signing out, your reboot hero. And thank you, Jayson. Thank you for showing up.
Whenever you're ready, here are 4 ways that Porn Reboot can help you out for free. The first way is to subscribe to our channel and make sure that you click on the notification bell to get a new video every other day. The second way is to actually get a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men, where you'll learn about my personal struggle and the lessons I learned over the past 14 years, as well as get strategies for putting together your own personalized reboot plan and ending your compulsive behavior with pornography or masturbation. So click on the link in the description below this video to get the free ebook. And thirdly, if you're not sure where you'd like to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, or you'd like to spend time with more like-minded professionals like entrepreneurs, business owners, men who work in sales or consulting or high-level jobs, men who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's also a link to join the group in the description below this video. And finally, if you need our help right now because you have a burning issue, it's an emergency, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally, you're about to lose your relationship and you want to live up to your potential or be an authentic man and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this video that actually says free coaching call, or visit elevatedrecovery.org and click on the link which says book a call.